All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is Saturday, February 24th. We have just a 3-game NBA slate to dive into in today's video, like we always do. We're going to go through each and every one of these games, so all 3 of them. I'm going to give you my lean on the spread. I'll give you my lean on the total. We'll talk about any player props or any other plays that we like within the game. But as always, all of my final plays, so I'm actually rolling with myself, those will be in the pinned comment. If you do want to fade me and go ahead and do the opposite of those picks, keep an eye on the pinned comment. Last night looks a little bit better than it was. So from a bird's eye view, you're looking at this going, okay, 4-3 night, nice little bit of profit, right? That's a win-loss of a successful night. But it wasn't, because we had the juiced plays of Booker and Durant and even Brook Lopez to some degree, a juiced pick. We do go 4-3, so more wins than losses, but because of the odds, we end up actually losing 0.1 units. So it was pretty much a middle day, but nonetheless, it was very, very slight in the red. And, you know, I could easily be like, look at that, a 4-3 night, a positive night. It wasn't. I'll be transparent with you guys. But where the positivity does come in, and speaking about positivity, holy crap, we have a new leader in the clubhouse. Picked it, cashes his ride of the day last night, setting an all-time record. He has now hit 6. 2 hands are necessary for this. 6 ride of the days in a row. Quickly finishes with, I believe it was 5 assists, so right there, but he cashes it. And shout out to Picked It because he gave a pick that was just super juiced at first. And I was like, hey, I get it. We want to extend the streak, but we got to do something more reasonable, right? So this was technically maybe a 2nd or 3rd pick down the list, and he still cashes it. So yeah, shout out to Picked It for this one. And what I mean by the odds and like the juiced picks, it's like with the ride of the days, we got to consider nothing really beyond like -150, -145. Got to have reasonable odds, and Picked It rise to the occasion. So shout out to him. If you guys don't know what the ride of the day is, all you got to do is use hashtag ride of the day in the comments, and I'm jumping on board with one person's pick, giving you a shout out in the next video, win or loss. I'm also giving you a shout out over on Twitter at EvGuyBoston. All that information is in the pinned comment. But if you win, like Picked It has now 6 times in a row, we continue to ride with your pick. And I do want to give a shout out to Picked It. He has his own channel here on YouTube as well, so I'll link that in the pinned comment as well. Go check it out. He gives picks over on his channel, and 6 wins in a row. The least I can do is give you a shout out, Picked It. So shout out to you. One more cha-ching. Can you really go 7? That would be absolutely absurd, guys. But go check out Picked It channel in the pinned comment down below. Let's go ahead and jump into today's slate. Like I said, only 3 games. Not even my favorite slate of the 3, right? Like the 3 games, I don't even love many of these games, but we still do find some value and some edge in some of these spots. So we're starting off with Detroit taking on Orlando. Detroit getting 7 points at home, total sitting at 224.5. Detroit, though they were covering a bunch of games, I want to say like 2 weeks ago or maybe 2 weeks before the All-Star break, they have dropped 3 games in a row, only one of those coming after the break. It was a game 2 nights ago against Indiana. They were 12-point dogs. Indiana beats them by 14. Orlando coming off of an impressive win coming out of the break against Cleveland. They were 5.5-point dogs. They win that game by 7 points outright. So I do think Orlando has a little bit of juice right now. In terms of injuries, a couple things you may want to keep an eye on. Jalen Suggs was listed on the injury report. I've seen on Twitter that he's expected to play, so maybe that's going that way. Isaiah Stewart on the side of the Pistons looks like he is going to miss this one. He's been out for a while. I think he comes back in a few weeks or so. Same thing with Grimes for Detroit. I think he is on the injury report. He's also probable there as he was on the move from New York. In terms of a spread pick here, I think you got to look at Orlando. Yes, it's a decent amount of points, and do I love the fact that Orlando, you know, comes into this kind of really dinking and dunking between this 7-point line, whether they've covered or not covered in their last 10. Yeah, that's not the best. They haven't covered this line in 6 of their last 10 games, if this were to be the line of their last 10. But nonetheless, Detroit's only covered 7 points in 4 of their last 10. So they're kind of equal in that spot. And I'll take the team that's just playing better basketball. So give me the Magic here. I don't know. Like, this is kind of a toss-up whether or not it'll be a final play or not. But I just can't get myself to Detroit. So it's almost like by default, I got to look at Orlando. In terms of a total in this spot, I do like the over. I don't know if that's going to be a popular consensus. I think a lot of the public and even the money is on the under today, but you have an Orlando team that's playing with slow pace. The 4th slowest team in the league right now over their last 10 games. Detroit is upping the tempo, though. They're ranked 9th when it comes to pace, and what I'll say about Orlando is their efficiency. Like, they're playing really, I guess, efficient offense, and you talk about their pace, right? In their last 10, well, you know, that's fine. They're not playing very fast up and down the court, but last 5 games here, right? 127, 114, 113, 118, 116. Like, they've scored 110 plus in 7 of their last 10 games. If they can drop 110 in this game, I do think that we already have a pretty good floor of, you know, maybe 215 or so. Give us 10 points somewhere else throughout the game, right? So I'll lean towards the over. Hopefully Detroit does continue to play with that pace. In terms of a player prop here, went back and forth on this one, so it's the same player. I'm not sure exactly what I love, but in terms of these two plays, Cade Cunningham, I'm considering his under points plus rebounds. Right now, that's at 25.5. I like the odds on FanDuel, -111. You have an Orlando team that is the 10th best team when it comes to preventing point guards from scoring on the season. In the last 7, they've definitely been a little bit softer to that line, but on the season, they allow the second fewest rebounds to point guards, and you have an Orlando team that over the last 7 here has allowed the fewest rebounds to opposing point guards. So I like that spot for him. I also would consider his under in PRA, and this isn't really me saying like Cade Cunningham could have a bad night. I just don't think he does all like the extracurriculars with the points and the rebounds and assists and that type of thing. So I consider his under PRA as well. He can go out there and maybe score 22 points, but he might have 3 rebounds tonight, and that keeps us under that 25.5 line, right? So just something I'm considering in this spot. I also, you know, could consider looking at my guy Jaden Ivey. You know, we've cashed with him plenty this season, but Orlando's defense is obviously, you know, very good, and Ivey hasn't exactly had the best couple games. So I think if we were to roll with something player prop wise, it's going to be that Cunningham spot, whether it's PR or PRA. So keep an eye on the pinned comment for that one. All right, guys, before we get to the next 2 games, I do want to talk to you about OddsJam. I know I've talked to you about them before, and I want to show you a couple things here. But first off, you can use the link in the pinned comment. You get 7 days free. And if you use the code GUYBOSTON when signing up at checkout, you'll get 25% off. Got a couple tools or parts of their tool that I want to walk through here. First off, the positive EV tool. This is a really cool tool, and I do actually have this little snippet of a video that's coming up of me testing that tool for 30 days. But what it does is identifies mispriced lines in the market. For example, this is a hockey bet. First period, both teams to score. +178 over on FanDuel, right? Average sportsbooks odds for this is +157. So you're getting a huge deal over on FanDuel taking that +178. You can filter it, set it up to your percentages, the sportsbooks you're on, everything like that. But what I think is really cool, and what we're going to try and do in today's video, is put together a little mathematical parlay here. And this is all available over on OddsJam, guys. Again, link in the pinned comment. But let's put together a 3-leg parlay. We'll do it on DraftKings just cause, okay? An NBA parlay, so we'll do basketball, league, NBA. Minimum odds, we'll do +200. It doesn't need to be a same game parlay. And yeah, we'll say it's going to be the best parlay they have to offer. And show me my parlay. All right, so we have Franz Wagner over 3.5 player assists. Josh Hart under 12.5 player points as he takes on the Celtics. And then the Timberwolves as they take on the Nets under 116.5. That's a 243 parlay in terms of odds. So we'll throw that in there. Maybe we'll put like a 0.1 unit on it just for more fun, but we'll recap that tomorrow to see how that parlay goes. Obviously, when we're looking at parlay, guys, you know, nothing necessarily is guaranteed, right? Parlays are super fun, but very, very hard to hit. But let's see if the math behind OddsJam can help us out. Again, that link is in the pinned comment, and you can use the code GUYBOSTON to get 25% off. But let's go ahead and jump back into the next 2 games here. All right, we got New York taking on the Celtics. I'll say that no player props, I'll start there, really jumped off the page to me here. I still want to consider Kristaps over in threes and Josh Hart's over points plus rebounds. Those are 2 stats, 2 categories that I've been hammering. So those are really just based on how much they've been hitting in the trends. I don't love the matchup for really either of those. If anything, I like the Kristaps one a little bit more. But just from a consideration standpoint, those are probably 2 that I'm looking at. But I'm being, you know, frank with you guys, right? Like, I'm not getting too analytical with them. They've just been cash machines as of late. So that's kind of where I'm leaning from a player prop perspective. From a game perspective, I don't mind, and I'm biased because I'm a Boston Celtics fan, I don't mind looking at the Celtics here minus the 7 points. This is a Knicks team that's still without OG, still without Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson obviously still out as well, right? And I just don't know if I fully trust what they're doing. Now, it kind of is like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth, because what did I talk about the Knicks when we took them as underdog money line against the Sixers a couple nights ago, right? I was like, I think that they're still a good team without those guys, and they are. They're just not the Boston Celtics. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they're playing a beaten and bruised Sixers team, then yeah, I think the Knicks are still a pretty, like, you know, playable and serviceable team. But we're going up against arguably, and maybe not even arguably, the best team in the NBA, and the Celtics fully healthy. And the Celtics, you know, we look at these numbers and we're like, oh man, these big spreads, like, it's tough. the teams play them close, but at the end of games, the Celtics seems to just be turning it on here as of late. And you wouldn't say that overall in the season. I think they're like a middle of the pack team when it comes to their last, fourth quarter, last period scoring. But in their last 5 games, they're top 10 team scores in terms of scoring. And the Knicks defense just drops off in the fourth quarter. Incredible third quarter defense, right? Fourth quarter, 20th team in the league in terms of points against. So I don't mind laying somewhat of a big number with the Celtics. If I think the Celtics are going to win the game, I think they tack on a few extra at the end of the game. So give me the Celtics here -7. I believe you can get it at 6.5. So make sure you're checking and finding the best lines in odds gem like I just showed you guys, right? Like go check out that site because they'll show you the best lines out there. In terms of a total, 224. So the Knicks like to slow it down, right? And their defense has been playing well. I know a lot of like numbers would say that this defense kind of fell off, but that's just because of how well they were playing. So if you watch Knicks basketball, you know that their defense is still good. It's just they were allowing 99 points, 10 games ago on average to teams, and now they're more into like the 105, 110, which is still a good defense, but I think that Celtics are going to have the answer for them. Last time they played, which was in early December, the Celtics dropped 130 plus. I think it was like 134 on the Knicks. They played earlier in the year, 114, and then 108 even earlier. So it's gone up, up, and up. 108, 114, 134, 133, something like that. I don't think the Celtics are going to have much of an issue scoring here on the Knicks. So I'm going to lean towards the over. The one thing I'll say, kind of trappy, because this line, if you were to tell me what game is going to have a higher line in terms of a total, Celtics Knicks or Magic Pistons, I probably would have said Celtics Knicks. They're a lower total, so maybe it's a little trappy, but I like the Celtics and the over here. And like I said, Kristaps over in 3s, and then Josh Hart's rebounds plus assists. Also a couple other plays that I would consider. All right, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying the channel and the shows that we put out and the content we put out. Hit that like button as well. You guys have been absolutely electric and just so supportive in the engagement as of late. If you want to take it a step further, consider picking up some Fade Me merch. We actually don't sell this one anymore. This is literally a Fade Me shirt that's not on fademe.store, which is the new storefront, right? This is literally a shirt that we started selling Fade Me products on GuyBostonSports.com. That was literally so long ago. So the fact that we now have a dedicated Fade Me store. We still have GuyBostonSports.com, but a Fade Me store that is just dedicated to that product. Damn, you guys are you just are amazing. And Fade Me is obviously a tough thing to sell on a shirt, right? It's like, do the opposite of me. But you guys have been so receptive to it. And the product and the quality of these tees and hoodies and everything we sell is just absolutely stellar. So I'm confident in everyone purchasing. Go check it out, fademe.store. But hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We got the Timberwolves taking on the Nets here. This one, it probably seems like surface level obvious, right? Like, why would you consider the Nets? Timberwolves are a way better team, but Timberwolves are on a back-to-back, and they're on a back-to-back in a game in which, I leaned Timberwolves yesterday, right? They lose to the Bucks 112 to 107. Good game, obviously, but they were favored in that spot. They are at home, which is going to be a big factor for me here. I'm going to lean Timberwolves. It's not something that I'm necessarily in love with. Like if we're talking, favorites of 8.7 points, like this may be my third favorite. Like I might like Orlando more than them. I might like the Celtics more than them, even though they could be in the best matchup here. But this Brooklyn team, like the fact that they lose and they get smoked by Toronto, right? And they've lost, I think, 2 games in a row that they absolutely got smoked on, but one after the break, come into Minnesota and it's only an 8-point spread, has me kind of like tingly a little bit. Like, what's going on here? It can't just be the back-to-back, right? But maybe it is. But nonetheless, I still like Minnesota because I can't trust Brooklyn. But that's too many points for me to make it a final play. So I wouldn't envision that being a final play whatsoever, guys. I could consider the under, as weird as it is. It's a low number, but like I said, the one thing that I could see Minnesota doing here is just being the better team, being the better defense, and just squishing Brooklyn's offense. And that kind of is why maybe I don't love Minnesota -8, because Minnesota could win this game like 99 to 80, I don't know, 99 to 89, which gets pretty close to this. They end up covering, but very low scoring game, right? So I'm going to lean towards the under here as well. But if you can't tell by the way I'm talking about this game, it isn't my favorite matchup on the slate today. One spot I would consider is looking at Mikal Bridges over 2.5 assists. I probably like that more than, I guess I could say, any other play in this game right now. In terms of what they do to small forwards, it's not really a bet on that. They are a decent team, kind of middle of the pack when it comes to preventing small forward assists, but what I like is he's going to be one of the focal points of their offense, right? And we know that this Minnesota defense is a very good defense. I think they're going to swarm him. He's going to have a lot of chances to pass the ball. So with quantity, maybe there's some quality that comes, right? So I think he'll just have a lot of passes, maybe a few catch and shoot threes and stuff like that. Last time they played, he had 3 assists. That was a month ago. So yeah, I don't mind him over 2.5 assists for -135. Really not asking for a hell of a lot there, right? But guys, gonna wrap for today's show. Like half the time of a normal video, but we only had 3 games to talk about today. It's funny, even with a 3-game slate, I can make it a 15-minute video, right? But on that note, guys, make sure you drop 15 in the comments if you made it this far into the video. I love seeing all the hooligan comments yesterday. I love when we have a weird like word comment of the day versus just the number. But still, I appreciate seeing all the 15s in the comments because it lets me know the real ones, the people that are making it this far, and it lets us sniff out the guppies, right? Don't be a guppy. Let's us sniff them out when they're like, what's 15? It's like, if you know, you know. But guys, go drop 15 in the comments, and we'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.